Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Velocity Racing League Cup Series 2022. We are here today for the Gator 200 here at USA International Speedway in Lakeland, Florida. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you tonight's action in 1080p 60 frames a second. Folks, we are here once again for the Gator 200 laps that we are going to be doing here at USA International. And I gotta say, after last week's race at Sebring, we saw quite a lot of interesting action, to say the least, as drivers prepare themselves for their qualifying here for today, get themselves out onto track, and start the first of their times laps here. But just taking a look at last week's results, Nickerson taking home the win after leading 15 laps at Sebring, and taking home the win. James Miller in second place, and Howie Briss going to be in third place after last week's race. So, coming here back into the oval setting once again, and kind of at a short track to say at that. So, kind of be throwing these guys back through the ringer here once again, but back into familiar settings. And again, this is a track where these cars are meant to be. So, we won't see, hopefully, as kind of a lot of the sliding off the track and just a little hiccups here and there that we saw. But surprisingly, even though, with all of that in mind, the majority of the field from that race, 24 drivers to be exact, only by my count, 5 drivers were out of the race by the end of it. And everyone did quite a phenomenal job in that race here. So coming here back into the oval setting, like I said earlier, drivers are going to have another chance here to kind of get themselves back into the groove of things here, a little bit more comfortable here with the ARCA. Now, Nick Nickerson, Jaden Hopp, Cody Miller in the top 3 right now, as they all work their way around the track for their final time. And Howie Briss also doing the same in the 97 machine, working his way into turn 3. Nope, that's actually turn 1 and 2. He was coming out of the front straight there, so that is going to wrap up his qualifying laps for today here as well. Colby Kersey in the 94 machine also, as we try to find someone to give you guys to watch here for this qualifying here. But again, short track, not a whole lot of time that you really are out on track to put down your laps here. As right now, if you are looking at the left hand side of your screen, you can kind of get an idea of what all of your favorite drivers are setting for. Ooh, look at this. The 3 of Logan Jones sliding across the finish line out of turn 4. Getting a little bit loose, a little bit unsettled. And you know what? It's USA International, and I almost expect that from a track like this. This is going to be one where traction is going to be quite, well, not exactly plentiful, to say the least. I've seen a lot of races here at this track in iRacing, in the iRacing setting, that have not gone well for quite a lot of people here, and I almost can expect the same here from a lot of our drivers today, as, again, coming from a road course setting, back into the groove in the ovals. Some of these guys might have put in some practice, some guys might not have. It all depends. Some guys and gals, excuse me, as we do have some ladies here with us in the series. I'm not sure if they are present here in tonight's race. I'm sure we'll get to that when we go through our grid. But at the moment, all of our drivers except for James Coulibaly in the 12. Actually, James Miller as well coming out onto track, going to be setting down their final laps for today for their qualifying. Let's take a look at James Miller in the 09 machine as he works his way out of 4 down the front straight. Hugging nice and tight up against the wall as he works his way into 1. And look at that, setting himself on the very tippy top. 21.54 as his best time here for qualifying yet. Tanya Mitchell in the chat as Cody Welsh qualified yet. Let's take a look here. It does not look like Welsh is here today for the race. At least here for qualifying. He might possibly be here before things kick off here, but we shall have to wait and see, as that is going to be the end of our qualifying for today. There's just about a minute, well, actually not even a minute, just a few seconds left here to wrap up qualifying, and we will be well on our way to getting today's race started here. As the white flag flies, we are going to have very quick intermission here as race control gets themselves ready to go and started for today's race here today. And let's take a look at our race results for qualifying. We won't touch into our starting grid quite yet, but just kind of taking a look at where everyone's at right now. You can see James Miller, at the very last moment, was able to get himself out into the top, taking the first place spot. Nickerson in second after coming home from a first place finish after last week's race. Now, our warm-up is going to conclude here for just a moment. Well, it is going to conclude, and we are going to go into our starting grid for today's race. James Miller, again, starting out in that first place spot with Nickerson in second in that first row. Jaden Hopp in the 81 going to be in third place, with Cody Miller in the 28 going to be in your second row in fourth place. Tony Hilbrands in the 92 going to be in fifth, with Howie Briss in the 97 going to be in sixth, rounding out your third row. Daniel Mosteller going to be in the 87, starting in seventh place. Sean Williams in the 89, going to be starting in eighth place, rounding out your fourth row. Thomas Sewell in the 77. In ninth place, Benny Hogan in the 5. In 10th place, rounding out your fifth row, Kevin Foster in the 8. Going to be starting in 11th place with Eddie Hadji. I apologize if I get that very, very incorrect, and I'm sure I will hear about it after the broadcast. But anyhow, in the 95, going to be starting out in 12th place with Charles Jurek. In the 76, going to be in 13th. Michael Keithley in the 53, going to be in 14th. Jeffrey Fisher in the 06 in 15th. Colby Kersey in the 94, going to be in 16th. Matthew Fitz in the 69, going to be in 17th. Logan Jones in the 3, going to be in 18th. Stephen Ulrich in the 52, going to be in 19th. James Koulibaly in the 12, going to be in 20th. Tom Mercia in the 68, going to be in 21st. Nicholas Lavelle in the number 10 machine, going to be in 22nd. Patrick Colby in the 9, taken 23rd. Scott Schuer in the 4, going to be in 24th. Paul Mikolajczyk in the 38, going to be in 25th. Lucas Smith in the 50 in 26th. Michael Ashmore in the 98 in 27th. And Bill Harkins rounding out the field. 28 drivers here tonight. Bill in the 11, rounding out the field here today as we get prepared to start our race here today. 200 laps here at USA International. James Miller, Nickerson, both going to be out in front here on the first green flag start of today's race. The first one that I expect to really see how this field is going to handle USA International. This is going to be quite interesting. Personally, with almost 30 drivers here on track, pace car is making its way down into pit road, and we are going to see the green flag fly here very quickly. There it goes. Across the line, James Miller, Nickerson going into turn 1 side by side. The field follows behind them. Everyone going side by side. Making their way out of turn 2 down the back straight, though. Nickerson in the 2 machine looking to get a little bit more speed, working their way into turn 3. Look at James Miller, though, staying on the inside. Really doesn't have anywhere else to go, though. He's just maintaining that speed, trying to stick with that 2 machine, not let him get away from him. And look at this. We're already starting to see a little bit of separation from the field as we work our way out of turn 2 down the back straight once again. And already we have an incident out on track. James Koulibaly involved in a little bit of an incident here, but it looks like we're still going to stay green here. Lap 3 of 200. The yellow flag does not fly. We are still green flag racing here at USA International. And not sure exactly what happened to James here. Let's see if we can take a quick replay of what happened to the 12 machine of James Koulibaly. We'll get right back to the live action. Just gets loose on his own right out of turn 2. And, you know, I fully expect that's going to be a lot of what we are going to see here tonight, and I am being told that admin cautions are the only cautions that we are going to see here tonight. Now, if you're not familiar with what I just said, with admin cautions, essentially race control is in charge of throwing out the cautions for tonight's race. So normally during these races, iRacing has kind of an automated system to handle those types of deals, so that way it makes it a little bit less hectic on the race control side of things if you don't have someone that is fully dedicated for that position. Now, in this case that we do have someone who is dedicated to that spot, it makes it a lot easier to manage these types of events and make sure that things go smoothly and go well here, as James Miller, Nick Nickerson, Jaden Hopp, Cody Miller, and Tony Hilbrands in the top 5 currently, as they charge their way around USA International, working their way into turn 1. Out of 2 down the back straight here. Look at Tony Hilbrands in the 92 machine, as a lot of drivers here are starting to fall kind of in the single file pattern here. You can start to see who is making the charge, who is kind of taking things a little bit easier here as things progress on. And right now, our fuel windows are quite long for this race. We expect drivers to stay out practically through 75% of the race, almost, if you will, being almost to 130, 140 laps until we see a driver come down into pit road, at least for fuel reasons. Now, drivers do also have an additional 4 sets of tires that they can use for this race, so a couple different things that they have available in their toolkit to keep themselves competitive here for a race of 200 laps at USA. But these laps are clicking away very, very quickly. We're seeing lap times of around 21, high 21s, low 22s, depending on where you're looking at in the field right now. So drivers doing the best they can, doing absolutely fantastic here as we look on. And if you're looking at the ticker at the top of your screen, you can see the gap between all of our drivers here today. So a lot of competition between a lot of drivers here. There's kind of battles happening all over the place. Just a matter of where you're wanting to look. And looking here, Benny Hogan, Thomas Sewell in the 77 machine, working their way down the back straight into turn 3. They were side by side for just a moment. They settled each other out. They settled each other out and opted to go single file there as they worked their way out of, I believe that was turn 4, but tuning back in here with the live action happening on screen currently. Benny Hogan here in 10th place, started in 10th, still in 10th currently, so holding on to that spot, not really trying to go anywhere. Ooh, look at that. You can see drivers getting a little unsettled there, working their way out of turn 4, getting a little slippery here out on track for some of these drivers, trying to really push it through this grid, get themselves further up in positions as early as possible if they can make it happen. But the only disadvantage to that strategy is that you are going to have to fight them off later down the road here. Looking back, Charles Jurek in the 13. Currently following behind Kevin Foster in that 8 machine. They got a little string of drivers also closing in behind them as well. That's going to be Jeffrey Fisher, Colby Kersey, Logan Jones, as well as Nicholas Lavelle. All kind of following single file here. Kind of outside the top 10 currently, but not Charles, but actually it is Charles now. Charles able to work his way around Kevin Foster while we weren't looking. Looking back at who was behind them, but look at this. Charles leading this field here, or leading this pack here, going to be trying to catch up to the next group that is just out in front of them, and they are just within arm's reach, it would seem like. And you can see Benny Hogan, Cody Miller also duking it out here. Benny Hogan down on the inside, right behind the 77 of Thomas Sewell and the 28 of Cody Miller on his outside, with the 95 of Eddie Haji. Excuse me if I get that wrong, and I will have to be corrected on the correct pronunciation for that last name there. But anyhow, Cody Miller currently on the outside of Benny Hogan as they work their way out of turn 4. Across the checkered line into turn 1. Benny Hogan still holding on to that 10th place spot. Cody Miller trying to crack his way around that 5 machine to get his way into the top 10 here. Or at least secure that spot and start to apply some... Ooh, look at this though. Looked like they were going to tap there for just a moment. They keep things together. Everyone doing a fantastic job keeping things together. Not letting each other get too wild here tonight. Oh no, right as I switch away, Benny Hogan in the 5 machine gets involved in a little bit of a bump there. Not sure who that was from. I switched away right at you know, folks, I happen to do that quite a lot. I do my best to avoid that, but man, does it hurt when it happens. All right. As we're looking here, trying to stick with the action, trying to see where everyone is moving, everyone is shaking. Benny Hogan rejoining the field here. You can see, ooh, who is that right on the outside? Looks like the 52 possibly. That was not the 52. Well, we had a driver getting a very, very, very wide up on track. Not exactly sure if that was involved from a little bit of contact or what the case was here, but we have quite the pack of drivers here looking with Benny Hogan right now. Let's actually ride on board with one of our drivers here, get a better idea of what's happening here on track. Let's ride on board with Jeffrey Fisher in that 06 machine as he charges his way down the back straight, going into turn 3 here with the 11 of, excuse me, that's going to be Bill Harkins on his outside. Bill Harkins actually going to be in 24th right now. Jeffrey Fisher in 13th. So a little bit of lap traffic already involved here in this 200th lap race. Lap 23 of 200. Just about an 8th of the way through today's race here today. And so far, it's been fairly calm. Fairly steady racing. No one has really pushed each other too much, I would say. I think everything has been exactly the way as it should. Got a couple hiccups here and there, but again, that's racing. It's going to happen. Those little bit of contacts, kind of got to shake them off. You got to keep things going. If it's severe enough, well, usually at the end of the day, it'll get reviewed, and even if you think you weren't at fault or think the other guy was at fault, it'll be hashed out. It'll be figured out. But either way, even with that in mind, everyone here is still racing as far as I know. I don't think we've had anyone that has actually looking at timing right now. Paul Mikolajczyk and Patrick Colby both did not start today's race as it would appear, so not exactly sure what the reasoning for that is. I would have to imagine it might have been something something they had going on that did not allow them to participate in today's race, whatever the case may be. Unfortunate to see both the 38 and the 9 not here on track today after both, I believe, were present for the race at Sebring. Actually, that is incorrect. Patrick Colby was not present, but Paul was present for the race at Sebring. So either way, all of our drivers here right now are worrying about where they're going to stand at the end of today's race currently. And after last week, Nick Nickerson taking home the win, as I've said already a few times here today. In second place right now, James Miller in that 09 machine, actually. He's looking pretty promising right now to hold on to the spot, and he put up a fight at the race at Sebring, finishing second, actually, for that race at Sebring. These two, again, going to be in this kind of 1-2 battle for the lead. And I wonder how long that's going to last here as the race progresses on. We will kind of have to pay attention, see how things shake up for these guys up here in the front. But you also have to kind of wonder here, what's everyone else behind them going to be starting to think as well? What are they going to be doing to maybe put themselves up there with those guys? Or maybe they've already checked themselves out of the race, and maybe they're already confident that where they're at is pretty much the best that they can do, and everything else past that is just pure luck. And frankly, there's definitely a lot of drivers that feel that way, you know, that they have an incredible race, and then at the end of the race, you know, you ask them that question, how did you feel? And they're just kind of bewildered that they even finished with a podium in the first place. It's truly fascinating, the mentality of a driver, myself included in that category. But anywho, look in here, Logan Jones possibly involved in a little bit of a incident here. He's going to be down in pit road. Oh, wow, look at that. Missing front right tire off that 3 machine. Let's take a look at the replay, see what exactly. Oh, wow, we have a couple different things happening here all at once. The 3 smacking the wall down the back straight. Ooh, right into turn 3. Not able to turn that machine properly. You can see the wheel not connected. Let's take a look at from Kevin Foster in the 8 machine, who is also involved seemingly in the same incident here. Getting loose on his own out of 2. And it looks like okay, so no one else getting involved with Kevin Foster in the 8. That's going to be a self-spin on his part, but either way, that's going to be very, very unfortunate here for Logan Jones, having been put down, oh, man, this far in the race. And when you have that much damage to the car, I mean, you can definitely get it repaired. It's definitely not out of the question that you can get it repaired, but it's a matter of how quickly and how far behind that's going to put you as far as laps, and where it's going to kind of put you at as far as position. But realistically speaking, finishing a race is better than not finishing at all. So you kind of have that double-edged sword situation where, you know, you can decide to say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to put the car behind the wall, forget about it, the race is over. And that sometimes that's what drivers do. You'll see that happen quite a bit with, you know, with drivers involved in wrecks that, you know, maybe it wasn't exactly the biggest one that's happened to them, but it was enough that they got wheel damage. They've got stuff leaking on the track. You know, they're looking at probably 5 minutes in the pits, maybe more, whatever the case may be. And it all varies depending on your situation. So again, if you're not familiar with iRacing, it's all dependent on the severity of the wreck, and I'm sure there's a number of variables and circumstances that people who have put more time into figuring out those things than myself can explain, but unfortunately I don't have that knowledge available to me at this point in time, so we won't get into that though. The racing's still going quite well, I do have to say. Lap 41 of 200, working our way very closely to that quarter-way point in the race here. And right now, Daniel Mosteller in the 87 in that 6th place spot, holding on very, very well here. But look up front, Tony Hildebrand's snuck his way into that 2nd place spot. Now he's going to be tracking down James Miller, who's actually increased his gap from that 2nd place spot all the way to nearly a 1.5 seconds. Great work from the 09 of James Miller here today for the Gator 200. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in and coming in and joining us here tonight. I hope everyone has been enjoying the broadcast thus far. It has been it's been absolutely a pretty good race here so far. I do have to say, pretty good actually. It's been great actually. These guys staying extremely steady here, giving each other plenty of room to work with, to make passes if they're doing it. Not really bumping into each other too much, not getting down and dirty on the inside, whatever the case may be. So got to give props to all of our drivers here tonight, putting on quite the race. As we continue to look on here with kind of our top 5. As they continue to work their way out of turn 4 down the front straight, they're going to come across the line, a lap 45 of 200 here at USA International for the Gator 200 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. And I got to say, folks, you know, right now at this point, if you're looking at the track map on the right-hand side of your screen, you can already kind of see, if you are just now tuning in, you can see the distance between a lot of these drivers here. And what you can't really see from this graphic, which I wish I could sort of display in a better way, in a better manner. But actually, speaking of which, we can actually do that in a very easy way. So right now, the numbers on the little bubbles going around the track right now, those are positions. So if you're looking at the number 1 right now, that's going to be the 09 of James Miller, currently leading the field. Now, if you look just behind that, you can see the number 20 as well, just behind that number 09. So if we're looking here, the 20, I actually can't find the 20. I believe that's actually the 8 of interesting. Very interesting. Okay. But anyhow, my point still stands. Kevin Foster. There he is. That's who I was trying to look for, folks. Wow. All right, that one took me a moment. I've been a little tired lately. All right. We're getting in the groove of things here, guys. Lap 49 of 200, and these guys are still pretty much also kind of just starting their race, essentially. This is only just the beginning. And with how this field is starting to separate, starting to split up here a little bit, you kind of have different packs going on here. We have this front pack that's kind of getting a little bit of a mixed bag. We have some drivers that have been put down a lap, that are just trying to catch back up, whatever the case may be, coming out of pit road from wrecks, whatever situation scenario that we've seen here already tonight. So we're kind of getting a lot of lap traffic involved out here in the front of the field. That's going to be separating them even further, as it's going to slow them down just a little bit. And that's not saying that the guys a lap down are slow drivers by any means. It's just they might not have had the best race so far here tonight, and it's possibly put them down in not the greatest spot for tonight's race. Lap 53 of 200 here. We have crossed that quarter-way mark here today at USA International Speedway. And right now, Daniel Mosteller in the 87 machine, that 6th place spot, currently tracking Howie Briss in the 97 for that 5th place spot currently. You kind of see a lot of these guys too. You can kind of see them all in kind of packs of two or three. Kind of just drafting one another, just sticking with one another, not letting one another get too far, and using the draft of each car to help catch the guy in front of you. And looks like we had another driver involved in an incident here. Eddie Haji looks to be involved in the 95 machine, and it seems as though he's going to take it behind the wall and call it for tonight's race. Let's take a look at the 95 here in this replay and see exactly what happens here. Just gets a little loose on his own coming out of coming out of turn 2 there, and slides it down into the bottom of the back straight. And again, that's going to be the end. Ooh, look at this, though. Oh, the 77, Thomas Sewell, looks a little unsettled there. Works his way out of turn 4, getting himself back together, sorted back into a proper line here. I did not mean to press that. Anyhow, Benny Hogan here, actually, another driver that we checked in with a little bit ago, towards the beginning of the race, in that 5 machine. He had a pretty good start. Starting to seem like he had fallen off just a little bit. Might have been involved in some lap traffic that's probably set him back, as I'm sure it's set quite a few of these guys that have been up front back just a little bit. And it's not the fault of the guys that are a lap down, or not even a lap down, and maybe just trying to not let themselves get a lap down. It's just everyone's trying to have a safe race. Everyone's trying to do their best to be as clean as possible for these races. So you kind of have to. It's the give and take. That I'll just leave it at that. If that even makes any sort of sense whatsoever, I'm sure it probably didn't, but I tried. Let's ride on board here with one of our drivers here. Let's take a look and see how some of our guys are doing here tonight. Howie Briss in that 97 machine currently going to be in that 4th place spot as he works his way down the back straight out of turn 2. You can see just the, it seems like Howie is able to kind of match the speed of the 81 in front of him of Jaden Hopp, who holds that 3rd place spot currently. But the thing is, oh, look at this. Oh, whoa, we got all kinds of cars down the back straight. Yellow flag has flown. We are under yellow flag conditions here, folks. And Colby Kersey, Kevin Foster going to be involved in this one. Let's take a look at what happens here. Oh, no. That was not the view that I wanted to give everyone here. Let's try that one more time here. So looking at Colby Kersey in the 94 machine as he works his way out of turn 2. Down the back straight sideways on his own. The 68. Oh, no. Oh, man. So I believe that's actually the 2nd time as well that Kevin Foster has been involved in an incident here tonight at USA. So our first caution, lap 64 of 200. That's going to be the first one here of tonight. And everyone taking advantage of the time to come down here into pit road. So that's going to bode them an opportunity to get a fresh set of tires. Top off on fuel, really, if they want to. They don't frankly need it. But if they really wanted to, they're probably more than welcome to here. But as drivers work their way out of pit road and back out onto track and get themselves lined back up behind the pace car for this restart, after the first caution here of the night, I gotta say, folks, the racing here has been quite phenomenal. All of these drivers doing an incredible job keeping this race green here at USA. Again, if you weren't here at the beginning of the broadcast, I was kind of mentioning that I've seen and called a number of races here at USA, and I can almost guarantee you that every single one of them has had a caution. I won't say more than that. I'm not going to say any more than that. Just a caution. All right, we've already got there. I'm not going to go any further. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. One caution, a caution. But with that out of the way, with that finally off my chest, I got to say, with James Miller out here in front, I got to wonder if James here is kind of a little thankful. I got to say, almost, that we're back here at an oval. We're not back at a road course. I have a feeling that James is probably a little glad that we're here today at USA International, and I gotta say, he's looked very, very promising here tonight in that 09 Snap-on sponsored Toyota. Even though technically it's just it's a Toyota and sheepskin, if you will. But the driver's getting a lap around, going to be let go around the pace car here. You see they're working their way down the back straight, going to quickly catch back up to the back of the field here as we work our way down the back straight. Now James Miller, Tony Hillbrand's going to be 1 and 2 on this restart with Howie Briss, Nickerson 3 and 4. Here on the restart, coming out of turn 3 into 4. The pace car is going to make its way down into pit road, and we are going to go green flag here once more at USA International Speedway. And here we go, folks, out of turn 4. The green flag will fly once more for the Gator 200 for the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Tony Hillbrand's holding on to that second place spot. Nick Nickerson on the outside with a little bit of a slide down the back straight into turn 3. Gonna be almost door to door here with that 92 of Tony Hillbrand. You can see Howie Briss also sticking it in down. Oh man, he's leading the rest of the string of the drivers, all trying to do the exact same thing here. We got drivers sideways, Jeffrey Fisher, Thomas Sewell. Oh man, the big one has come out right after the first caution of the race here. And I gotta say, that's probably gotta be attributed to the fresh tires here, folks. I can almost feel it in my bones. That is the reason for that for this caution here. Let's take a look at the cause of what happened here. Looking at Scott Shire in the 4 machine, trying to get as much of a big picture idea of what's going on here. Oh, let's actually, okay, hold on a second. Let's back things up here a little. We're doing things a little odd here, but this is how we're going to do it. So, look at this. You can see Thomas Sewell getting clipped from behind by the 09. Or excuse me, that looks like the 90. Or the 06? Yeah, it is the 06. Okay, the 06 of Jeffrey Fisher. And a cascade of cars colliding into one another right after that. You can see the rest of the drivers trying to check up, make sure that they don't get themselves. Look at the 12 also trying to... Ooh, just barely. Man, yeah, a lot of drivers here checking up, trying to make sure they too don't get involved in that incident here as well. So... lap 71 of 200, that's going to be our second caution here today. And, oh, gosh, folks, I'm excited to see how this race progresses on. It's been an interesting one. I hope everyone is enjoying what they've seen so far. If you are, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. Stay tuned with all the action we have here. Team Goon Squad, 7 days a week. So James Miller, Nick Nickerson, going to be 1 and 2 on this restart. Tony Hillbrand's, Howie Briss, again, 3 and 4. Once the green flag flies across the checkered line, we go once more. Let's see if this is going to be the last time. No, it is not. So with that in mind, folks, we are going to take a very quick commercial break as drivers get themselves prepared and ready to go for the next green flag run here. 2022 VRL Cup Series for the Gator 200. Stay tuned, folks.
For driver Carrington, it's dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
folks, welcome back. Drivers making their way down the back straight here. The pace car going to be making its way back down into pit road here once we make our way out of turn 4. After our second caution here today, how will these drivers handle the second one as we go green flag here once more at USA International Speedway for the Gator 200. Here we go. Green flag is flying. James Miller in the 09 taking the lead once again, taking it into turn 1. Nickerson holding on to that second place spot. Excuse me. Cody Miller in the 28 machine in that 5th place spot down on the inside of the 97 of Howie Briss. These drivers holding everything nice and steady here, trying to do what they can to hold their spots, gain a position, do whatever it takes to get out on top. In the 28 of Cody Miller here, doing a fantastic job going side by side with Howie Briss turn after turn. The 89 Sean Williams slowly starting to work his way into the mix of these three. Look at these guys. Charles Jurek on the charge here in the 76 machine into turn 1 out of 2 down the back straight here, but man, even further back there's more even more battles happening. It's again, folks, it's a lot to keep up with here in the booth with all the battles happening here on track. There's a lot. Everyone is doing a phenomenal job here, putting as much pressure as they can where they can and trying to do absolutely everything in their power to hold on to their spots. But look at this, Nick Nickerson holding on to that first place spot as he takes it from the 09 of James Miller, but only just barely. James Miller down on the inside, out of turn 4, down the front straight. James is going to retake that first place spot here as they work their way into turn 1 once again. Tony Hillbrand's in the 92, going to be in that 3rd place spot, trying to get his way to the rear bumper of that 2 of Nick Nickerson, but even just holding on to a podium spot here at this point in the race. But look at that. Nick getting a little bit of a slide job out of turn 4. Oh, man, holding that, did a very good job keeping that together, holding everything together there, making sure that he didn't make that a lot worse. Holding on to 3rd place now. He's going to have the 28 of Cody Miller going to be slowly working his way towards the rear end. But as we tune away from the battles up front, we're going to check back in with Benny Hogan. He's holding on to 11th right now, and just behind him, Jaden Hobb, Michael Keithley. Both going to be duking it outside, door to door here. As they settle out going into turn 1 and down the back straight here, a lot of our drivers going to be single file here at this point in the race. Looking at the track map down on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see just how that has progressed here so far after the second restart. All of our drivers here doing a fantastic job. Again, after this restart, keeping everything green here once more, even after those little bit of hiccups here that we saw just a moments ago. But Charles Jurek, Jeffrey Fisher duking it out here for this 7th place spot. Jeffrey Fisher looking down on the inside, but just behind them, Nicholas Lavelle looking like he was about to possibly get sideways there for just a moment. Kept it together, though, and we've seen a lot of that from these drivers here. Every single one of these drivers is absolutely incredible at keeping their car in a straight line, if you will. But looking at this battle here, Nicholas Lavelle, Charles Jurek, who's now starting to fall down the pack here in 9th place once again. Nicholas taking that 8th place spot here. So really the field's shaken up in spots that you really wouldn't expect it to. And oh, look at this down the back straight. Charles Jurek I didn't even see that. I honestly didn't. Let's take a quick replay at what happened here. So Charles Jurek, just gets tapped by the 87 of Daniel Mosteller. In not a self-spin, but a lone car incident, essentially, which is not going to throw the caution here for the race. So drivers are going to continue to stay green, and that's definitely going to hurt Charles here for that 76 machine. Not ideal. Not ideal. But when you're racing this close to one another, when you have competition that kind of within that vicinity of yourself, it's challenging. It's definitely not the easiest thing to give each other room, with all things considered. So continuing to go green here, lap 88 of 200, quickly rolling through our race here. Still a long ways left to go. 113 laps left to go. 112 once we cross the line here, and there it is, lap 89 of 200. And James Miller still holding on to our lead here and doing an incredible job of it. Nick and that 2 machine still holding on to third. And look at this, Cody Miller, Howie Briss, both duking it out for that 4th place spot. Door to door into turn 3 out of 4 down the front straight. It's going to be Howie Briss out in front of that 28 of Cody Miller. And these guys going to settle back out here once again, but I'm sure that Cody's he's going to be setting himself up here once more to try and get back on the inside here. Let's actually ride, let's see here. Let's ride on board with Sean Williams in the 89 machine, just to get an idea of what these 2 drivers out in front are kind of doing. And let's have a listen to kind of, well, ultimately how these guys drive these cars around USA International. Great racing from the 89 of Sean Williams, holding on to that 6th place spot. Everyone here falling single file for the most part. Not really a whole lot of side-by-side battles here, and that's pretty much what I would expect for a good majority of this race. When you have 200 laps, especially like a track like this, USA International, short track, not really a whole lot of time to, well, really kind of make big moves, if you will. It's really a long-term strategy kind of race when you come here and you have 200 laps. There's really not a whole lot of banking on being able to wiggle your way into the top 3 from the bottom 20 or whatever the case may be. Kind of rare to see that, but maybe tonight's different. We might see some very interesting things happen here. But speaking of interesting things here, as we are on lap 97 and 200, we mentioned towards the beginning of the broadcast that fuel windows for today's race, it would be about 130 to 140 laps. Now, considering that we had drivers come down pit road lap 63 for that first initial caution, I'm kind of wondering who out of which of these drivers took fuel. I've seen a lot of drivers take tires, which I fully expected. You're definitely going to be burning through tires here at USA. But my biggest question is anyone going to be coming into pits for that fuel reason that we mentioned just a moment ago? I don't really think so. I would have to guess that if you're coming down into pit road for those tires, you're going to be getting fuel, and you're going to be able to stick it out all the way until the end. But I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. We're going to be keeping an eye out on the field, how everyone is kind of moving about and seeing where they stack up currently. And speaking of stacking up currently, James Miller has started to slowly work his way, a fine gap between himself and Tony Hildebrandt's, nearly actually a second now, between first and second place driver of Tony Hildebrandt's in the 92 machine. In the case of James Miller right now, when you have this much of a gap, when you're really just have all this clean air in front of you to work with, and you're not having a whole lot of competition pressuring you from behind, really you just got to keep doing what you're doing and hope that it continues to work in your favor as it has for James Miller here tonight. He's done an incredible job here in this race. I can't say exactly how many laps he's led right now, but I would almost have to say it's within the 60% margin so far of the current 103 laps that we've done here at Lake. Oh, the yellow flag flies. Jeffrey Fisher going to be involved. Oh, man. Looks like we got cars all over the place here. Let's take a look at what happened. So we're looking at the 06 of Jeffrey Fisher. He taps the rear end of the 28. Oh, man. Nicholas Lavelle also involved there. Jeffrey Fisher and the again the 28 of Cody Miller both involved in that one there. That's going to send the caution flying once more. Lap 105 of 200. So our third caution of the race here today. And frankly, even after last week's race at Sebring, there was only 2 cautions for that race. Now, granted, that is a much larger track. There's a lot more room to work with, whereas here at USA International, it's a fraction of that. So when there's multiple cars kind of getting collected into a wreck and blocking the track, that's ultimately what the biggest concern is, and what brings out these cautions for most cases. If it's a one-car incident and you're at a track like Sebring, you're usually able to get the car off the track safely in time before the field works its way to that point on the track. So when you come to a track like this, USA International, very small, I don't want to say very small because it definitely isn't the smallest short track by any means, but when you come to a smaller track, these kinds of things, it makes it a lot, it makes it a lot simpler for race control, at least, to make that decision on to when to throw the flag, because it doesn't take a whole lot of time to make your way around this track. 20 seconds, last time I checked, about 21, 22 seconds is the current lap times of most of our drivers here today. So when you have a group of drivers that are involved in an incident, kind of blocking the field for the rest of the guys, it definitely has some cause for concern. So as we are on the lap 109 of 200, as we cross the line here at USA International, Driver's going to be getting their lap around as they tear away from behind the pace car to quickly get themselves back behind the field for the next restart here. Third caution of the race for the Gator 200. And man, this has been quite the race here, especially if you're James Miller in that 09 machine. We have seen quite some impressive driving from a lot of our drivers here tonight. As we go green flag here once more here at Lakeland. And look at this, Kevin Foster is actually going to get the jump this time around, going to take the lead out of turn 2, down the back straight. James Miller falling just behind that 8 machine in second place. James going to be setting himself up down on the inside into turn 3, out of 4. Oh, Kevin Foster getting washed up out on the outside of 4, down the front straight here. That's going to give the 2 machine of Nick Nickerson a chance to work his way back into second. Howie Briss into third now. The 89 of Sean Williams in fourth, and you can see that 8 machine of Kevin Foster fading back down the field. 7th place he's holding on to now. His drivers start to settle themselves, settle themselves back out and prepare for another lengthy green flag run here. A lot of our drivers now, again, wanting to go single file pretty much as quickly as possible. You don't want to be battling side by side with someone the whole race. That definitely gets a little exhausting, a little taxing. But if you're someone who's really trying to get their way up this grid, up this field, you kind of have to do it. You have to put yourself in that scenario. You have to get comfortable with it. You have to excel in those situations. And right now, Kevin Foster being put in that exact situation right now, and this is another part of that doesn't always work in everyone's favor. And right now, the case of Kevin Foster, he's on the outside of this, looks like 5 long car string of drivers that are all kind of in the draft of one another. They're all going to be moving a lot quicker than that 8 machine is all on its own on the outside line. So as James Miller continues to work his way to get that, lead that he initially had just a few moments ago before we went under yellow again here. But you got to give credit to the 2 of Nick Nickerson, both of these drivers, if you inverted their places right now, this is where they were at Sebring for practically the majority of the race here, or there rather. And James Miller right now, who is, as he continues to lead this race, he actually had the opportunity to lead the race at Sebring last week, and he did for a few laps, but ultimately was only able to take home second for that for the Sebring 200, which still, with a road course like that, man, and cars like this, is challenging. It's very, very challenging. There's not a whole lot that you can do to these cars to make it easy by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to be a challenge no matter what. We can see Jaden Hopp in the 81 machine going to be falling behind Daniel Mosteller in the 87. Look at these guys. All bumper to bumper here going into turn 1 out of 2 down the back straight. Try and stay with one another as close as they possibly can as we ride on board here with the 81, just to get an idea of where he's placing himself here on track, and how he's handling this battle here for 6th right now. Lap 123 of 200 here. James Miller, our race leader, who has continued to lead this race for, I would have to, well, we tried to do this estimation earlier. It's been at least half the race at this point, if not more, maybe a little less. But the 09 absolutely dominating this performance here tonight. And the 2 of Nick Nickerson, I think he's also very good possibility that he might be able to take home the win if he can pull off his moves here. That he's, oh man, it seems lap after lap he's setting himself up for it. Getting very, very close to that 09, trying to just stay with it as close as he can. He has the opportunity. He definitely has the chance to possibly work his way on the inside of James Miller and take that first place spot here, but it's only, oh man, it's really a matter of if Nick is going to do it or if he's just kind of teasing James Miller here at this point. But there's still a lot of laps left here. You definitely got to keep that in mind as well. 72 laps that we have, or excuse me, 73 laps that we have left here to do at USA. And again, those are going to tick away rather quickly. It's not exactly any indication that it's going to be a long race. There's still quite a few laps left, but it's not exactly the longest race that we have seen here yet. So as time continues to dwindle on for these drivers, I'm starting to wonder to myself who is going to who's going to try and really push themselves as we work our way into this kind of final quarter of the race, if you will. As I work to get you the points from last week, that's what I was looking for. Right now, Howie Briss is actually the leader in points in the series with 352 total points right now. Colby Kersey in that second place spot. Nicholas Lavelle going to be in third at this point in time in the series after race 2. So even with that in mind, you know, you don't necessarily have to win every race or even be in the podium every race to win a series. There's a lot of strategy that's involved. There's a lot of really just patient driving, patient racing, and just kind of playing your cards right, making sure that you're not being too aggressive, too under aggressive in some cases. There's 100 different things that you could account for. There's all sorts of strategies that you could use and go for, but ultimately at the end of the day, these guys are here to have fun. They're here to put on a good race, and I think that's exactly what we are seeing here today. James Miller, Nick Nickerson going to be working their way into turn 1 out of 2 down the back straight once more. James Miller holding on to this lead here, and look at this lap traffic trying to get themselves out of the way down into pit road. That's going to be Colby Kersey making his way down there into pit road in that 94 machine. And actually, no, there's not. He's come out of pit road there for some reason. Anyway, Jaden Hopp, though, in the 81 machine, following behind Daniel Mosteller, holding on to that 5th place spot currently as it stands. Lap 135 of 200. Things have remained quite calm and steady here for this race. And, right as I say that, though, you know, it's continued to look like this for both of the... Whoa, look at that. That looked very, very, very dangerous for the 09 of James Miller. Getting awfully wobbly coming down the back straight. Out of turn 4, though, down the front straight. Getting that little bit of bump draft from the 2 of Nick Nickerson. Let's actually take a look at the rear view camera on board the 09 of James Miller. As we watch Nick in that 2 machine try and possibly make a pass here. You can see just how close they're getting to one another too. Absolutely incredible driving from both of them. Let's actually ride on board with the helmet camera too of Nick Nickerson here, and kind of give you an inside view of what's going on track currently. So you can see the 2 machine very patient, very, very calculated in his moves. He doesn't want to miss his chance, but he also doesn't want to wait too long either. Oh, look at that. And really, you don't have to wait extremely long, realistically speaking. As those two drivers continue to work with one another, continue to battle with one another. They actually have some lap traffic now in front of them, as I noticed. Oh, there he goes, up high, letting them go around. But it's things like that that allows this field to kind of group back up together and kind of have these last half of the race battles, if you will, whatever you want to call them. Because as you can see right now, Howie Briss in the 57 is now starting to work his way to the back end of that 2 of Nick Nickerson. Holding on to 3rd place, the 87 of Daniel Mosteller. In 4th place currently behind him. All of these drivers here remaining single file for the most part, really only opting to go 2 wide when the opportunity for passing presents itself. Look at this here, James Miller, Nick Nickerson for the lead across the line into turn 1. Nick on the inside, James on the outside. Oh, is he gonna hold it together? Out of turn 2, down the back straight here. James Miller just holding on. Oh, he goes sideways. Are they gonna wreck? Oh man, that was looking very, very close there for a second, folks. Look at how loose that 09 is right now. He is absolutely fighting that machine, trying to keep it together. But there he goes, down on the inside. Out of turn 4, down the front stretch, it's James Miller, Nick Nickerson, side by side across the checkered line into turn 1. James down on the inside, down the back straight. Going to give him the edge over the 2 machine, but not quite enough as they work their way into 3 now. Nick staying on the outside of the 09 as they come out of turn 4 down the front stretch here once again. James Miller with a little bit more speed. Here he goes, able to edge out in front of the the 2 machine. But that does not mean that the battle is won, or that the war is won. The battle there might have been won, but the war is definitely not over between these two for this race. But Nicholas Lavelle, as you saw just out of the corner of your screen, ate the wall out of turn 4. Let's take a look at what happens here. Oh man, getting awfully wobbly. Into 3, Tokyo drift slide and snaps it right into the wall of turn 4. That's going to bring out our 4th caution here of the race. Yes, 4th caution of the race. We're going to take another quick commercial break here, folks, as drivers get themselves sorted back out, get ourselves a drink of water here as well. We will be right back for more of the 2022 VRL Cup Series. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We will be right back with more iRacing here on Team Goon Squad.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
Welcome back, folks, to the VRL Cup Series 2022. We are here for the Gator 200. After our 4th caution here of the race, we are on lap 152 of 200, and I gotta say, for 200 laps here at USA International, that is quite impressive, I do have to say. Now, there is the exception that cautions tonight are controlled by our race control, so with that in mind, normally, if they're the spinouts that we've seen, the single car incidents, normally under iRacing's decision, if you let iRacing kind of decide its own cautions, usually it'll send out a caution because someone slid down the back straight by themselves. But being that we have live race control here for tonight's race, that is not the case. So cautions only come out when race control deems it necessary. So even with that in mind, the fact that we've had only 4 cautions for today's race, I'm quite impressed, I do have to say. Well, looking here, I actually just got some information up here in the booth. It looks like Paul Mikolajczyk in the 38 actually lost power at his house. So that is the reason that the 38 machine is not here for today's race. As we get ready to go green here once again, the pace cars back down into pit road. Jaden Hopp, James Miller are going to both be starting out first and second side by side, working their way into turn 1. Jaden Hopp on the bottom line as they work their way out of turn 2. Down the back straight, though, Jaden Hopp gets loose on his own into the wall, out of turn 2, into the wall on the back straight. That's going to bring the caution out once again. a one-car incident involved in that one. And right as I was saying that too, you know, kind of having only cautions come out when there's multiple cars involved. But this is one of those situations where it could have been a lot worse, but luckily there was only the one car, Jaden Hopp, here involved. So we're quickly going to be able to get this field racked back up here and hopefully started back up here once again once we get everyone sorted back out where they need to be. And that's going to open up the door here once more for James Miller and Nick Nickerson to line back up here 1 and 2 on this restart. Our 5th caution for the race here today. Lap 157 of 200. 44 laps left to go here for today's race at USA International for the Gator 200. Alrighty, folks. Apologies for my moment of silence here as I am eradicating the unnecessary chat messages, as we seem to have week after week. The bots never rest. But what doesn't rest here for the VRL Cup Series is our drivers, and ensuring that they do as much as they can to ensure the best result for their race here today. And I gotta say, everyone here again has done a phenomenal job here throughout this race. James Miller, Nick Nickerson, both having come from last week and finishing in the race 2nd and 1st from that race, and coming here and doing roughly the same. You got to give credit to where credit is due. So excellent job to both the 09 and the 2 machines here tonight. As we get ready to go green here, folks. Down the back straight we go. James Miller, Nick Nickerson going to be out on the front row on this restart once more. Daniel Mosteller, Cody Miller in 3rd and 4th place. And out of turn 4 we will go. The pace car dropping down into pit road. And the green flag will fly in just a short moment. And here we go. We are racing here once again. USA International Speedway. 39 laps left to go here. James Miller out in front. Nick Nickerson trying to hold on. Oh, man. Looks like he was going to get sideways there for just a moment, but keeping it together, doing an absolutely incredible job here. Working their way out of turn 4 down the front straight here once again. We have drivers all over the place essentially here at this point. Let's actually hop up with our blimp camera here at Lakeland to get a better picture of what's going on down on track and see how things are shaping up here for all of our drivers. And again, this trend of going single file seems to be working for these guys to keep things green, keep things steady, and really just allow everyone to have a good race here. And you can look up front here, actually, here as well. James Miller, Nick Nickerson, both going to be side by side for that first place spot. And I had a feeling that Nick was saving all that momentum that he's been building up for this point here in the race. Lap 164 of 200. Things have really been kind of brewing up to this point, and I think this is where Nick has decided that it's time to unleash the full potential of that 2 machine. As we look at Howie Briss here, in 4th place currently in that 97 machine. Who is that sideways? Nick Nickerson into turn 3. Almost looked like he was going to lose it there. Keeps it together. Howie Briss, 3rd place currently, trying to track down Nick Nickerson here after that little bit of a mistake. But speaking of mistakes here, Cody Miller going to be caught on the outside here. Doesn't exactly seem to affect him too much. It looked like he was starting to fall off the pace there for just a moment, but that was just my eyes deceiving me. But look here behind them, the driver we haven't talked about at all, I don't think, in this race here today. Scott Shire in the 4 machine in 11th place right now in that Fox sponsored 4 machine. Bill Harkins, though, looks like to be involved in an incident here, all in his lonesome in turn 4. He's going to quickly get it back behind pit wall before the rest of the field works its way to that section of the track, and just in the nick of time as well as James Miller and Nick Nickerson both continue their battle here out front. It's going to be door-to-door battles here as we come down the back straight. Nick Nickerson once again taking that lead once more. Checking back in, though, Michael Keithley, 7th place right now. Oh, man, Cody Miller. It almost looked like those two were going to connect with one another for just a moment, but ultimately keeping things on track, keeping things very well collected here. Lap 171 of 200. Things are, this is going to be getting very, very intense here quite quickly, I would have to imagine, as this is going to be really the final shot that you have to gain positions. Oh, look at that, though. Tony Hilbrand's down on the inside of Michael Keithley. It works out for him. He takes that 6th place spot as they come out of turn 4 down the front straight into turn 1. Tony Hilbrand's a very, very impressive maneuver there down on the inside of the 53 of Michael Keithley. Some great racing out of the 92 machine here. But looking just behind them, the 89 Sean Williams now going to be, oh man, he would look like he was going to be in trouble there. Being on this outside line with no help behind you, it's not ideal. More often than not, you're going to find yourself getting lapped by the guys on your on the bottom or on the outside, wherever the faster line happens to be at that point in time. If you're by yourself on the opposing end of it, you stand no chance, essentially. And there it is, folks. 26 laps left to go before we see the end of the Gator 200. And what a race it has been. Look at this, though. Charles Jurek. Oh, man. Starting to get his way up here into the top 10 in 9th place currently. With a buzz of drivers behind him as well. Going side by side, it's Nicholas Lavelle, Cody Miller. You can see Jeffrey Fisher here as well, staying on the tail of Charles Jurek. come down the front straight here. If you're looking at your track map, you can see just so it's a little bit more obvious. Again, these guys all single file for the most part here towards the end of this race, really only taking the time to go side by side when the opportunity for passing is open. And look here, actually Jeffrey Fisher sees that opportunity now, down on the inside of the 76 of Charles Jurek, down the back straight. Both of them getting a little bit loose there, able to keep it together though, really trying to push these machines as much as they can, trying to do everything in their power. As we look here with Nicholas Lavelle in the 10 machine just behind them in 11th place currently. Behind that Fallout 76 covered 76 machine. So with 19 laps left to go here, folks, this is, oh man, you know, the battles that we have right now. Oh, look at this. Michael Keithley sideways. Sean Williams getting involved in that one here as well. Oh, no. Wow, that almost could have got a lot worse here, but that's going to bunch up the field here quite a bit. Look at this. 2 wide, 3 deep. Coming out of turn 4 down the front stretch. It's Michael Keithley out in front here, holding on to 9th place. The 06 of Jeffrey Fisher going to be down on the inside here of the 53 of Michael Keithley. Oh, Jeffrey able to get his way down around. Guys, wow, that was one heck of a way to bunch up this field here. And in the strangest of ways, too. That was absolutely incredible to watch. We could see Jaden Hopp here as well in the 81 machine on the outside. He's going to be one that's probably not going to be in the best of spots here. He's going to be the one fighting against the draft, the speed of the drivers down on his inside, but holding on right now as he comes out of turn 4. Trying to do everything he can to hold on to 11th place spot right now, but look behind them, Nicholas Lavelle, Scott Shire. Oh, look at this. Jaden Hopp gets sideways, brings out the caution with 15 to go. Let's take a look at the replay. Gets a little bit of contact from Nicholas Lavelle from that 10 machine. Sends him spinning. Oh. Careful now, careful. Oh, great work there. Checking up, making sure that doesn't collect anyone else in that wreck. 14 laps left to go here, folks. My, oh my, what a race it has been. So as we see all of our drivers in pit road here, currently going to get their last set of tires, get their final splash of fuel if they need it. And this is it, folks. 13 laps left to go. If we don't see another caution, this is it. This is going to be what determines the winner for the Gator 200. And if you're James Miller right now, you're going to be hoping that things go well, things stay calm, for the final 12 laps here. And as caution laps do count here as well, so by the time we go green here, I am going to assume we're going to be probably 10 or 9 to go, unless lights go off this time around. Well, even if it does go this time around, it'll be, should be 10 to go. Okay, so it'll be under 10 laps to go once the pace car officially comes down into pit road. And as drivers have get themselves back behind the pace car, get themselves sorted back out here, we're going to take one final commercial break here. When we come back, we'll take you to green for the final few laps here of the Gator 200 of the 2022 VRL Cup Series here on Team Goon Squad. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere for more iRacing here with Team Goon Squad.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the pit one is out.
Welcome back, folks. We are about to go green flag here. The pace car dropping down into pit road. 10 to go, 9 as we cross the line once the green flag flies. And there it goes, James Miller on the restart into turn 1, taking the lead once more. Nick Nickerson, Jeffrey Fisher, going to be side by side as they come out of turn 2. Down the back straight into turn 3, 9 laps left to go. It is the final shootout. Tony Hilbrands, though, not having the best restart here. The caution goes flying once more. Oh, no. Tony Hilbrands involved in that one. It looks like he was all by himself in that as well. Let's take a look. Coming into turn 3. Oh, he gets into the rear end of the 97. That's going to be Howie Briss. Just barely gets into the bumper, sending him sideways up into turn 4. That's going to bring out the caution once more with 8 laps left to go. Folks, and again, caution laps do count here. If I'm not mistaken, there is not any okay, never mind. So there's a limited amount of green white checkers here. So we are going to finish the race under green no matter what. For some reason I had it in my mind that there was a limited amount, but that is not the case. So with 7 laps left to go here, folks, even if we go under caution with 3 to go, they'll have another 3 laps to really finish this race under green conditions here. So as we get the drivers back behind pace car, sorted back out, by the time pace car does come down into pit road here, actually, realistically, this should be the final kind of, ultimately the few laps here that we see for this for the end of the race here. with 5 laps left to go here, folks. And the lights are still on the pace car, so if I'm a bet man, I'm gonna say if the lights, well, either way we're gonna come to green here with three to go. I'm gonna have to guess. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the case, and I think we're going to see, hopefully, it stay green for the final 3 laps, and our winner is declared. And it's going to be a tense final 3 laps if that is the case. And there it goes. The lights are off on the pace car. So indeed, this is it, folks. 3 laps we're going to see here once the pace car comes back in and the green flag flies. The Gator 200. No, I was correct. The Gator 200 going to be closing out on a rather intense moment here, as we come out of our 7th caution and get ready to start once again. The pace car is going to come down into pit road, and there it goes. And we are green flag once again, and hopefully for the final time. James Miller taking the lead into turn 1. Nick Nickerson on the outside, just barely behind the 09. Holding on to that second place spot, though. He's charging his way into turn 3, door to door. The 09, the 2 machine, both going to come out. The caution comes out, though, as there's problems behind them. Look at these stacks of drivers piled up on the bottom of turn 4. Nicholas Lavelle going to be involved here in that incident. Let's take a look at what happens here. Oh, Charles Jurek, Kevin Foster. Oh, man, just a mess of drivers involved in that incident. And it's, not even really a high-speed wreck. It was a lot of drivers kind of just slowing down into one another, it seemed like. So no one really suffering too terrible of damage here today from that last caution that we just seen. So our driver's going to get themselves racked back up here and ready again once more. For another green-white checkered attempt. So James Miller, Nick Nickerson, both having been first and second throughout the majority of this race, and both being inverted for their finishes for last week's race at Sebring. I think they're both going to be pretty satisfied with their results today, especially after coming back from a road course and getting back into the groove of the oval. Definitely going to be feeling pretty good, I would have to imagine. Now, Daniel Mosteller as well, having taken third for this race here today. It looks like here as well that Daniel did not participate in the race at Sebring. So, Daniel coming back after a hiatus from last week, taking home third here today. Gonna have to be feeling pretty well about that here as we patiently wait to go green flag once more and finish out today's race here at USA International for the Gator 200 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. Lights are out on the pace car. We make our way down the back straight. It's going to be James Miller, Nick Nickerson once again on this restart. Daniel Mosteller, Jeffrey Fisher, third and fourth. Going into 3 and out of 4. The pace car drops down into pit road. And down the front straight, the green flag flies. 2 laps left to go here at USA International. James Miller out in front of the lead currently. Nick Nickerson, he's trying on the outside here, down the back straight, scraping the wall just a little bit into turn 3. Gets a little sideways. Nick Nickerson trying to hold on to it. Daniel Mosteller taking advantage. The final lap. The white flag is flown into turn 1. James Miller, the 09, trying to hold on to his lead here. Daniel Mosteller in the 2. The 87 holding on to second place here. Goes a little bit sideways. Out of turn 2 into turn 3. Once again, Daniel Mosteller, Nick Nickerson almost going to be door to door here. Well, look at this. Oh no! They go crashing across the checkered line. It's going to be Daniel taking home the win. Nick Nickerson in the 2, taking second with James Miller taking third. Wow, what a way to finish this race. Everyone crashing across the line, folks. I can't think of a more poetic way to end the race here at USA International. We're definitely going to have to get some pictures of that one. That was absolutely incredible how that turned out here right at the very, very end of this race. Daniel Mosteller coming across the line for first place, taking home the win here. He's going to go ahead and do a inverted lap here. Just a kidding. He's going to take some burnouts on the checkered line here. A well-deserved burnout, essentially. Really. Wow. Again, what a way to finish this race. An unexpected way at that. So with that, your race results. Daniel Mosteller taking home the win in the 87. Nick Nickerson in the 2, taking home second with James Miller in the 09. Taking home third place, Jeffrey Fisher in 4th, Jaden Hopp in 5th, Howie Briss in 6th, Benny Hogan in 7th, Sean Williams in 8th, Michael Keithley in 9th, Cody Miller in 10th to round out your 10th top 10 for today's race. And we are going to go ahead and get ready for our post-race interviews. And we are going to go ahead and start with Mr. James Miller, if we can find him here. It does not look like he is going to be present here for today's post-race interviews, but that is A-okay. We're going to go ahead and move on to our second place finish, Nick Nickerson. Nick, sir, do you have a read?
Gotcha, man.
Nick, wow, what a race here tonight after taking home the win last week at Sebring. Coming here today, what were you kind of expecting for tonight's race? I know that personally, from what I've seen from USA International, from any series, really, it's always kind of a toss-up of kind of really how the race is going to go. Was that kind of what you expected, or what were your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I don't really race these cars, so I'm still kind of learning little mannerisms of this, plus the custom setup. So I really wasn't sure. Didn't have any ideas coming into it. I was just kind of run and see how I can evolve throughout the race.
Absolutely. And, sorry, go ahead.
That's pretty much it. And I was just trying to run as good as I could. Typically, I learned how badly I drive in the first stint when it comes to tires. So you saw me kind of fall back to fifth there because I was over driving. But at that point, I kind of know what I need to do for the next few stints. And I was, on rails for those last 2 stints. It just kind of sucked the way those last couple restarts just didn't give me a time to really mount a run back to the first place. And when I was about to work my crossover, whoever's in third blocked to the inside. Good job on him. I think he's the one guy that actually won there. Sorry, I don't know anybody's name in this league. I'm kind of new, so
it's okay.
But yeah, man, it it was an intense 200 laps. You know, I was pushing James as hard as I can to see if I can get him to burn his tires up a little more. But yeah, it was fantastic racing, tons of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It was incredible. And, I got to say that restart having come out 3 laps left to go, I mean, you were definitely kind of put in a very tough situation, and you guys were all extremely close to one another coming across the line. And it was Daniel Mosteller that actually came across the line for first tonight. Nice. Yeah, so coming in tonight and seeing how the race kind of progressed, I mean, we didn't really see a whole lot of well, at least at the beginning, we didn't see a whole lot of cautions. It was really towards the end that we really seen kind of back-to-back ones start to come out. But even with that in mind, you had an incredible run here with James Miller kind of battling back and forth. Now, carrying that over from last week at Sebring, did that kind of give you a lot of confidence going into today's race to be able to do that?
And I mean, not really, just because the road courses are kind of my thing. I've always enjoyed them. Many years I actually ran like a league where it was NASCAR Xfinity cars at all just road courses, and I kind of learned a lot from there. So kind of expected to finish pretty good there. With these short tracks, though, they're a little bit different just because, especially this track, man, like there was only one good lane. I mean, you can work that lane in like a couple different ways, but there was no slinging on the outside. Excuse me, except for on the restarts, I was able to get some kind of run going on the outside, but after a couple laps, like there just wasn't anything left of it. So yeah, it's a tough race, but it was definitely tons of fun, and I look forward to the next.
Absolutely. Well, with that in mind, Nick, before I let you go here tonight, before you celebrate, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home, anyone in the pit crew that you want to shout out or thank before we let you go?
I don't think so. I need to start passing out the invites to your YouTube. I'm assuming that YouTube is where you stream.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to start passing those out so people can start watching. But other than that, just got to thank Tony for putting on this league, all the hard work he does, and everybody that participates. They will make the league, man. And Mason, is it?
Yes, sir.
Mason, man, I appreciate you doing the broadcast. Can't wait to watch.
Awesome, Nick. Well, thank you again for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth, and congratulations on taking home second in kind of a unexpected manner. I'm sure you were probably you were itching to take home first, and it looked like you were possibly going to be able to do that here. But with that out of the way, Nick, congratulations, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's race.
Hey, appreciate it, man. I'll see you next week.
All right. You have a great night.
You too.
Alrighty, folks, that's Nick Nickerson in the 2 Machine out of the booth, taking home second place for tonight's race. Last, but certainly not least, the 87 of Daniel Mosteller joining us in the booth here. Daniel, sir, do you have a read? Oh no, Daniel, it seems I have lost hearing on my end for you.
I got you.
Daniel, there you are, sir. Dan, you kind of were put in the best possible spot for this restart here at the end. You were in third, and Dan, what was kind of going through your head through that final lap? Once the white flag was out, you guys were all starting to come out of turn 4, and that's when things start to get shaky. What was in that moment, what was going through your head?
In this league, I really haven't been in a position, so I really didn't know what to do. I saw he was getting twitchy, so I knew, this is my shot. I gotta do what I gotta do. I wanted to use the bumper, but thankfully I didn't really have to use it. Yeah, off of 4, I saw him overdrive it, and I gassed it up as hard as I could. Get as far ahead as I could before, in case he was gonna wreck me. I mean, he just gassed it up himself, and wasn't on purpose, but crossed the line first. That's my first win in this league.
Absolutely, and what a way to take home your first win. And I gotta say, Dan, you were doing an incredible job, just kind of sticking with the front of the pack. You were kind of floating top 10, top 5, depending on what part of the race we're focusing on here, but we're talking about the end here, and you managed to get yourself up into the top 3. Can you kind of walk me through what it was like, whether it was working your way up into that position or just holding on to that position in general?
The first run, I had top 5 speed. When that first yellow came out, I actually ran into the guy that was parked on the track, so I was put on the back foot with damage. So I had to work my way through the field. So I spent about 115 trying to get back into the position, and I saw that Nick and James, they were getting pretty racy. I thought they were gonna wreck each other, and that's how I was gonna get into the position I was in. But yellows happened and just led me into the spot.
Absolutely. And again, what a way to take home the win tonight for the Gator 200. But Dan, before I let you go here tonight, before I let you crack one open and celebrate, is there anyone at home, anyone in the booth, anyone watching the broadcast, or anyone in your pit crew that you would like to shout out or thank before you head out tonight?
I want to thank my crew for fixing up my car that it was absolutely destroyed at one point in the race. I want to thank you for broadcasting this league. I want to thank Tony for putting on this league. This is the first ever league that I ever did. And, I've been loyal ever since. I enjoy racing with these guys every single week. Hopefully this is the first of many.
Absolutely, Dan. Well, again, congratulations on taking home first for the Gator 200. And thank you for joining me in the booth tonight, Daniel. I hope to see you again, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You have a great night, Dan.
You too.
Alrighty, folks, that's going to be Daniel Mosteller in the 87 taking home the win for the Gator 200 of the 2022 VRL Cup Series. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad bringing you tonight's action. I hope you all enjoyed, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you did like the action, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already to stay tuned and catch all the action that we have here 7 days a week on Team Goon Squad. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next week. Same time, same place.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.